Article 25, Paragraph 3 of the India-USA Treaty. Where does income arise? Now, for the purpose of foreign tax credit, right, it's important to understand who has the right to tax. And quite often than not, this right to tax is a function of where the income arises, right? And therefore, this paragraph to identify where income should be considered as arising for the purpose of the treaty. For the purpose of allowing relief from double taxation pursuant to this article. Now, what this first line does is, it says basically that the rules which we are going to discuss for the purpose of income which shall be deemed to arise, right, are only meant for the purpose of allowing relief from double taxation. What that also means as a corollary is that if there are different rules in different article relating to where the income should be arising, those rules will have precedence over this, okay, because this paragraph is more towards allowing relief from double taxation. And then there are certain specific exceptions which are anyways mentioned, which we'll also look at. So for the purpose of allowing relief from double taxation pursuant to this article, income shall be deemed to arise, even though it may actually be arising elsewhere, but it's a deeming fiction which provides that the income shall be deemed to arise as follows. So let's say we are considering a case of an Indian resident, right? And therefore, who is getting some income from US. In this light, we are going to read this particular article. Income derived by a resident of a contracting state, so an Indian resident, which may be taxed in the other contracting state, which is US, in accordance with this convention. So if there's an Indian resident who gets some income which, applying the relevant treaty clauses, may be taxed in United States, right? And how would that taxation work other than solely by reason of citizenship in accordance with paragraph 3 of Article 1 shall be deemed to arise in that other state. So such an income which may be taxed in US as per the treaty, except for incomes which are to be taxed solely on the basis of citizenship in US, shall be deemed to be arising in United States. But income derived by a resident of a contracting state, so income derived by an Indian resident, which may not be taxed in the other contracting state, in accordance with this convention, shall be deemed to arise in the first mentioned state, which means if an income cannot be deemed to be arising, or actually, if the income may not be taxed in US under the convention, then it shall be deemed to be arising in India. So if you actually see, these two provisions are very simple. If an income may be taxed in US, it shall be deemed to be arising in US. If it is not taxable in US as per the treaty provision, it will be deemed to be arising in India. But there are exceptions. Let's look at them. Notwithstanding the preceding sentence, the determination of source of income for the purposes of this article shall be subject to such source rules in the domestic laws of the contracting state as apply for the purposes of limiting the foreign tax credit. What this means is, while this is a general rule which should be applicable, if the Indian laws, which laws? Laws which apply for the purpose of limiting foreign tax credit have certain source rules, right, which are different from what is provided here, then those rules will have precedence over what is discussed in paragraph A and B. So tax on income in USA in accordance with the treaty, it shall be deemed to arise in US. Not taxable in US according to the treaty, it shall be deemed to arise in India. Determination of source of income for the purpose of this article shall be subject to such source rules in the domestic laws of the contracting states for the purpose of limiting foreign tax credit. Now, the second part of this paragraph 3 reads as under: the preceding sentence shall not apply with respect to income dealt with in Article 12. So when you talk about Article 12, which is royalty and fee for included services, right, that sentence shall not apply. The rules of this paragraph shall not apply in determining credits against US tax for foreign taxes other than taxes referred to in paragraph 1b and 2 of Article 2. Right? So the only taxes for which these credit rules or the source rules or the rules relating to where income should be deemed to arise will be the ones discussed in these two paragraphs. Right? Other taxes, the rules discussed in this paragraph do not apply.